and I'm going to introduce our MC for the day, David Ryan Polgar. So a little bit of background about David, and you all have bios. I want you to read them and read all the details about him and our other speakers. But David is one of the most insightful people I have met on issues around technology and its evolution and how it impacts our lives and our society. I met David when he co-founded and led the Digital Citizenship Conference at Twitter. And as I learned more about him, I saw that he had a really multifaceted background, a little similar to mine, which was really neat to learn. So David combines his background as both an attorney and an educator, along with experience working for a number of social media companies, to understand and to help others understand the evolving use of technology. So just a few highlights of David's career. I mentioned the Twitter Summit. He is the co-host and co-creator of an amazing, relatively new podcast called Funny as Tech. Please check it out. He is a contributing writer for Quartz, Big Think, Dell Perspective, and IBM Think Leaders. And he's the head of trust and safety for the social networking platform Friendbase. David, we're incredibly thankful that you're here to help us today, and he traveled from the East Coast. So with that, please join me in giving a warm welcome to David Ryan Polgar.
Strong introduction, though. I feel like I'm just going to let everybody down. I don't know if they're putting this
put this like
black mirror type of tracker on me. I believe that. Oh, good. Now I can hear the thoughts in my head. Okay, good. This works. So what we're talking about today is social media's role in reducing teen suicide and just the interesting area of this intersection. If you're listening to the news, you're watching the news, you're seeing this is one of the most debated topics right now. You might have seen that Mark Zuckerberg recently came out and saying, wait a minute, we need to ensure that Facebook is about meaningful interaction, that the time you spend online is time well spent, right? Kind of an ode to this time well spent movement you might have heard about. And that's why I'm excited to be here. As Jeff mentioned, I kind of have this role as a tech ethicist where I look at the ethical, legal, and emotional impact of social media and technology. But I think what we have today is an opportunity to actually alter the conversation, right? We're all trying, as Steve Jobs said, to put a dent in the universe. Unfortunately, as we saw last year, a lot of people put dents in the universe, but they were not positive dents. We've seen a lot of pushback on Silicon Valley at large for its large potential adverse impact. But at the same time, as we all know, looking around the room, so many people that I already know here are people that I met online, that I met, let's say, through Twitter, or through Facebook, or through other forms of social media, or just email. So we see the potential, and that's why I like to say that social media is like a knife. It can be used to inflict pain, or it can be used to carve a future that is more connected, more just, and more intellectually curious. But what we have to do, since the future is not already written, is we have to have gatherings like today, right, which can have that impact. So that's why we're bringing together a diverse mix of mental health professionals, students, thought leaders, social media companies, to actually say, okay, what are the actual solutions here? And that's why we're not just about talking heads. So this is where everybody today, when you're having an idea, because again, somebody's got to come up with these solutions. When you have an idea, if you look behind you, kind of on the right-hand side, there we have pieces of paper or index types of cards where you can put on, if you look on the left side, the solutions board. Because we wouldn't consider today a success if we just end up talking about something, right? Talk is cheap. We want to talk about it. We want to bring that awareness, but also come up with action-oriented solutions. And that's why I'm really excited about some of the guests that we have coming up. Also wanted to remind everybody to, since this is social media, we want to use our hashtag. The hashtag is hashtag SMSS2018, right? SMSS 2018. So that's what we're trying to do, right? Take pictures, share quotes, anything that you want to add to it, or anything that you thought was worthwhile, please mention put it online. I think we're all okay with that. And that's why we're also having this event live stream, because as excited we are to have this audience here, there's also an audience all throughout the nation, all throughout the globe, that is actively thinking about this issue. Because I think that's the larger point, and then we'll bring up our first speaker, is that we need to start thinking about social media and technology in a very agnostic manner. It's neither good nor bad, yet most media attention is social media good for you or is it bad for you? Well, that's like saying, is a tool good for you, or is it bad for you? A hammer is great when I'm using it for a nail, but it's bad if I hit my neighbor with it, right? And we've seen, from an analogy, we've seen the same type of activity happen with social media. We've seen its great ability to connect people, to do Kickstarter, GoFundMe campaigns, but then we've also seen bullying, right? We've seen even this new topic of self-cyberbullying, or self-digital harm, as they would call it, and that's this unusual type of self-cyberbullying, which research has found is done in 6% of cases. So that's why we bring together this type of thought leadership as we have today, because this is not always explored, and it's really kind of up to us. So that's what I'm excited about. So our first speaker is going to be Dr. Elias Aboujad.